Hey everyone, this is Billie with the Curi-YAAS podcast. Back for another conversation with, not another. This is the first time you're going to hear from Brianna. So if you want to introduce yourself a little bit, Brianna, that'd be fantastic.
Hi, I'm Brianna. I live in New Jersey. Um, Dressing has been a big part of my life for as long as I can remember, and I'm kind of leaning towards a more gender fluid identity at this point.
What is uh, what does gender fluidity mean to you?
Well, when I first started to cross dress, it was the kind of thing that I did in my room, uh, and then I would put it away and be done. Now it's got to a point where I don't want to just put things on and put it away. It's important for me to express that part of me on a daily basis in front of everybody. So trying to get the courage to move a little further and a little further. Um, my identity as a man was always based on what I thought everybody wanted me to be, and that's changed over the years. So it's not what I thought it was. Um, so I identify as gender fluid because I'm just not all male, if that makes sense.
That makes sense. How ha- you want? So you say you want to express yourself more frequently on a daily basis to everybody.
Yeah,
How often are you doing that currently?
every day, all day.
How so?
Well, I mean, at this point, my goal is to be able to express my femininity in front of the world, including family, including walking into the food store. Um, and I'm going to a soccer game for my twin daughters later, and I won't be wearing my earrings, but I'll be dressed with my hair, and I try to make it pixie as best I can. I've got my Doc Martin women's boots. They have a bigger heel in the back. My skinny jeans, and these are women's shirts that I wear, but they're kind of androgynous, and I try to lean towards that for the sake of my wife. She's not very happy about any of this. So,
So she knows about your gender fluidity.
yeah, I don't tell her every aspect. I don't tell her every. As a matter of fact, she doesn't know I'm doing this. That would probably cause tension. I told her I'm doing a 12-step meeting speaker. That's why I needed her Verizon box.
Okay, okay. So she's the only person that knows about your gender stuff.
No, no, my therapist knows all about it. And in the last 6, 8 months, I've told some people in the program that I'm involved with, and including a sponsor. So it's out in the open. That's something I never thought would happen.
How is that gone coming out to like your sponsor and your
It's I've had
support
nothing but
program?
positive feedback, and which
Is that was that against your expectations?
I don't know what I expected. It just became important that I'm not hiding it.
Hmm, I get that. Hiding it's hard.
Well,
It's
it
like
it always felt very dirty, shameful. And
you feel guilty, right?
what's that?
Like I always felt real guilty.
Yeah, I mean, I purged several times because I was trying to just wipe it away, and it never went away.
You want to what was your purging experience like?
Well, I would go and buy outfits and skirts and heels and different things, and I would, in my room, dress in front of the mirror and it would start to get kind of obsessive compulsive, so I would just reach a point where you get that post nut clarity, and I would throw everything away
Is it
and
a
try to be what I thought you wanted me to be.
mm-hmm. So is that a pretty fairly quick process for you?
A
Like,
quick process.
yeah, like you had your post nut clarity. You dressed up, jack off, or whatever, and you have your post nut clarity.
Yeah.
Was it like immediate, like, oh, I need to throw all this away, or was it like
The
kind of a
second
build
this,
up?
it was like Jekyll and Hyde. It would be one thing beforehand, and then immediately after, I would feel dirty and alienated,
Hmm.
alone, depressed.
Do you still feel like that?
No, because it's morphed into something different. It's not so much of a
Not a sexual thing.
no, and that was part of the guilt. Um, it's really isn't led by any kind of sexual thing at this
Are there
point.
any are there any sexual components still there?
Yes, um, but there's no post nut clarity because most of that time that doesn't happen. It's
Okay.
just it's just me trying to show the part of me that was hidden for decades.
Hmm. Okay. Interesting. So when you just kind of going back to when you came out to like your therapist, how did that go? Like, what did your therapist say when you first revealed this
She
to?
was very positive about it, and this is going back about 15 years ago. Um, and she's been a huge part of me getting rid of the guilt and the shame and remorse. So that's where it started to get better over the
Mm,
years with her. And then I had a heart attack about a year and a half ago,
mm,
and it was 100% blockage, and I was out momentarily until they jolted me back to life.
mm-hmm,
And I started to think, well, I always used to think, well, someday maybe, someday maybe, someday maybe, and I'm not getting any younger, and I don't want to be on my deathbed thinking I never expressed this part of who I was. I think I would feel awful if I was laying there and I never explored this part of myself.
mm. I totally relate to that. I hear that a lot from a lot of people actually. That's I used to fear death a lot, um, a lot more than I do now. I used to I used to worry I was going to die at like 55, and then people would just like it was like back when I was like in the closet and didn't tell anybody. I was always so concerned about like dying any like it really honestly any age like just dying fucking in a car wreck or something, and then people finding my stash of stuff.
Yeah.
And at the time, I'd be dead, so why would I even care? But I worried about that for a long time. Did you ever
And
worry
now
about like, yeah? Did you ever worry about like dying and people finding all your stuff?
it's crossed my mind, yeah, that my kids would be shocked about this whole other part of me.
So
Uh,
do your kids know about you now?
no, I did briefly, very quickly, as a matter of fact, mention to my youngest daughter that I was gender fluid, and she immediately said, "You don't even know what gender fluid is."
Does she know what gender fluid is?
Apparently, she does. Um, so my response to her was, "I do know what gender fluid is, but it's not something I want to dive into completely with you." And she finished my sentence by saying, "Because it's none of my business." And I left it at that. We were driving, actually. We were driving somewhere.
Hmm. Do you
That
think
was the
her?
extent of saying anything to anybody as far as my kids go.
How do you think your kids would react if you told them?
Well, I have six kids. I have a 31-year-old boy, twin daughters that are 21. Their names are Faith and Hope. I have 19-year-old, a 16-year-old, and a 15-year-old. I'm closest with the girls. Um, don't know. They're pretty modern, and they're pretty accepting of other people as far as whatever, sexual preference they have, or they don't even like people joking around about anything that's got to do with somebody's identity. Um, I think they would be shocked because I do come across very, even sometimes toxic masculine, just because of the way I was brought up, that everything I do, including my movements, my hands,
Mhm.
everything is kind of manly, just from years of practice.
Mhm. It
So I
takes
don't
time.
know. Yeah. So I try to, if I remember, I try to not act that way. Even when I go to a food store, when I'm walking from my car to the food store, I'll practice walking a little more feminine. It just feels good.
How do you walk feminine? Sway
It's
your
hard
hips a
to,
little bit, or
yeah, yeah,
you do the one foot in front of the other foot kind of thing?
yes,
Yeah.
yes. I practice that in the food store
You
sometimes. Well,
find the one line going down the aisle, and you just like follow that.
yeah. And when I'm wearing my Doc Martens and my skinny jeans and my whatever androgynous clothing I'm wearing. I even wear these sometimes if I'm going into a food store that's not right in my town. Um, I like the way it feels.
I think that I think that's reason enough for you to
Yeah.
do what you do. What what really keeps you from telling your daughters? Because to me, it seems like they'd be supportive.
It's a funny thing because my wife is very adamant about telling me that that's my business and she would never tell them. And I'm thinking in the back of my mind, well, I might tell them myself.
I think
Uh,
you should. I think just from what you tell me about, I know we only talked for like 12 minutes, but just from what you tell me about them, to me, it seems like they'd be very supportive, and
I
I
think
think
they
it'd
would
be
be. I don't know why. I'm sorry I interrupted you.
no, it's fine. I just feel like they would be a great support system, probably having your back. I would assume. There might be like some initial shock and all that stuff because, I mean, of course, there's always almost always that initial shock with like loved ones and stuff, but
Yeah.
not always. Sometimes you get that like immediate support and that immediate like acceptance, and
Well, we went
that's so
to.
great to have.
Yeah, I know it's going to happen at some point. There was also a part of me that thought, well, what if they came across this video chat with you? Um, then the cat would be out of the bag, and I wouldn't have to say anything to anybody. They would know everything. Um,
Okay, so let's do this. So let's just say they stumble upon this podcast. What would you tell them?
I would just, I would just tell them that yeah, it's basically everything.
What's
Uh,
everything?
Everything that we're talking about. I'm gender fluid. And I have a hard time with calling myself gender fluid because I feel like people look at that and poo poo it and be like, oh, what are you, non binary, gender fluid? And sometimes people don't take that seriously. They think that you're just on some kind of a kick of wanting to be different. But gender fluid really tells me what I am. And I like the fact that you and Giselle talk about the fact that uh, gender fluid, cross dressing and gender fluid is in the transgender umbrella.
I think so, 100%.
Yeah, so I kind of figure, I think gender fluid is sometimes you feel more manly, sometimes you feel more feminine. I mean, my goal, I can't even walk into a store and look at men's clothing because I just get bored. I like to go and look at women's clothing and think, what could I went to a store yesterday and I'm like, well, what could I wear? What could I get away with?
Hmm.
What can I
Hmm.
wear that won't shock anybody, but it's showing my femininity? Um,
What would that be?
well, I look at blouses, I look at pants, I look at boots. I love high heels. I used to be into spiky heels. As a matter of fact, I've been going to this Nordstrom rack store, and they have a pair of black pumps that I'm probably going to buy. I haven't had any of those in quite a while. Um, but I like boots, like my Doc Martens. I bought a pair of boots from they're made in Portugal, and they have
Hmm.
a 3-inch heel on them. And I bought them. My wife is like, "Ugh," she hates when I do stuff like that, but I don't want to wear my Timberland man's boots anymore. I just don't want to be bothered.
Hmm. Hmm.
I want to wear what I want to wear, and I'm not getting any younger. I'm 54, and I just don't want to. My wife, when we went to the shore a few weeks ago, was like, I want you to bring some of your men's clothes." Um, at first, she was like, "Well, I mean, you shave your legs. I don't know how your family's going to feel about that if my parents are down there." And I didn't say anything. And then about a week before we left, she said, "Well, are you gonna? You haven't grown any hair back on your legs." I said, "Yeah, and I'm not going to." And when I went down to the shore, I brought two bathing suits. I had a pink one and I had a black one, and I wore the pink ones one day, and she got all mad at me. And I'm learning that that's really her problem. It's not my problem. And if it ends up going in a direction that may not be comfortable for everybody, I'll deal with it.
Hmm. Just from my experience, um,
Did
I
I
had
answer your question? I don't think I answered
no,
your
you didn't.
question.
You didn't answer my. I'll circle back to it because I really want you to like put a good, precise message to your daughters. I think that would be fantastic, especially if they stumble upon this because they might. You never know. You might even just want to send them a link. So anyway, back in my experience, I could be out, in a dress and makeup and everything, and I'm taking hormones. My face is definitely changing. It's not. I mean, it's still fairly dudely, but I still get called sir all the time. People don't notice. Like, the only time I wear like dude clothes is when I'm at work. Every
Right.
other time, I'm wearing typically like women's shorts. I have women's sandals that I wear all the time. My toes are painted. I'm always wearing like I have rings from my mom that I always wear. Um, you know, I don't know. I still get called sir and dude all the fucking time.
I
I
would
don't.
be uncomfortable calling you that,
Thanks. I mean, if you saw me, you'd say, "Oh, you're a 6'4" fucking linebacker," because you know
but I
I'm.
can tell that you're not. I mean, I can tell from the lipstick and the eyes that I wouldn't look at you and call you sir.
People do. People do all the time, and I can't force them to say one or the other. I mean, I also don't really try, I guess.
Right.
But yeah, like it happens. It happened to me this morning when I went and got breakfast. It's like, oh, sir, here's your oatmeal, sir.
Right.
Thank you, sir. It happens all the time to me. People don't care. I've been shaving my arms and my legs for like 3 years now, and no one has said anything about that. Even at my job, my job's very like um, it's like a manly-ish job. It's very
I've had
physical
I've
and
had plenty of those.
yeah, it's like construction type work. Not a lot of women out doing the construction. I know one lady tech at our company, besides myself, of course.
Mm.
And it's people haven't said shit to me, so I doubt I doubt anyone's gonna say, "Oh, you're shaving your legs. What are you, some kind of girl now?" And even if like, wouldn't you kind of like that?
Yeah. At some point, it just becomes less important what they say.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
My sister brought it up in front of my mother when we were down at the shore. She goes, "Do you shave your legs?" And I looked and I said, "Yeah." Why? I said, "Because I like the way it looks." So and I left it
What,
at that.
what was her response?
She said, "Oh, it does look good. I was just wondering why."
Oh, see, there you go.
Yeah.
I think you're fine. I think there's probably a lot of built up shame or something on your wife's behalf. I'm sure. Um, but I feel like you should keep doing you and keep growing.
Yeah, it's gonna have moments of ugliness between me and my wife. and I don't know where it'll end up. Her response to me is, "I didn't sign up for this," and I'm like, "Yeah, I know." But she did know that I owned heels when we first met, so she knew there was something there. But
Those just weren't your basketball playing heels.
no, no, they
You're
were
not
pumps.
slamming and
They were
throwing
black.
layups.
Yeah, they were black pumps.
Oh, I just need to get closer to the rim. I gotta dunk. I
Yeah,
knew those extra 6 inches, or I don't know how tall they were, but
they were about 6 inches. Yeah,
hmm. So yeah, perfect dunking height. Yeah.
I can't play basketball though, so that takes that out of the mix.
No, then some other, I don't know, some other sport where it's helpful to be tall. I don't
Right.
know.
I'm not very tall either. I'm 5'6".
I guess that gets you a little bit up there. Get you about what, 6 foot? If you're 5'6", you're doing 6 inch heels.
Yeah, I wish I could
It's a
walk
foot.
in them better.
Oh, you just got to do 1 foot in front of the other and sway your hips a little bit down the grocery store.
Yeah,
Just take your time. Have the shopping cart. That really helps. Helps
yeah.
like keep your balance. Hmm.
Now, when you work, do you put your hair in a ponytail?
I put my hair in a bun. When I first started, I had, it was a little bit shorter. It's still pretty long, but not nearly as long as it is now. Now it's almost down to my nips.
That's nice.
Um, but when I first started, I was just slicking it back with like gel and stuff. Just kind of just back out of the way. And then I was told, you need to cut your hair and all this other stuff. And they claim safety. You don't want your hair getting caught in a drill. Which, duh.
Right, right.
That's why I slicked it back. And then I was like, well, can I just like put it under a hat? And they're like, no, that's not good enough. You need to cut your hair. And then they backed down.
Oh, that's good.
I I immediately started looking for another job because I was like, fuck this. I don't. It's not worth it to me. My hair is
Right.
worth more to me than this fucking job.
I know you've shared a lot about your job at times where it sounds like it's kind of stressful.
It's so stressful.
You know,
How is your job?
I am retired.
Okay, so great.
Stopped working. I stopped working when back in 2006. I was in the car business. My wife was doing mortgages, and we wanted one of us to be home with the girls. And I became a stay-at-home dad, which has been rough at times when they were all little. But I've got such a tight relationship with my daughters today that I wouldn't trade that for anything.
Mm. So that probably left you a lot of time to be yourself when your daughters are a little older.
Yeah, I mean, this all started 8 months ago, so I wasn't anything I did back then was in my room with the door locked.
Okay, okay. So your daughters, if you were coming out to them right now on this podcast, what would you tell them?
I would tell them I have another part of me that I don't show. I'm gender fluid, and I think that feminine part of me has made it much easier for us to have a good father daughter relationship because the feminine parts of myself made it a lot easier for me to help you brush your teeth and comb your hair and put your hair in ponytails and make your waffles and all those things and change your diapers. All those things I think came more natural to me because of that stronger feminine side. Um, um, I don't know how you guys feel about it, but I can't hide it anymore.
So I'm going to play the role of your daughter. Why did you feel like you had to hide it from me?
Uh, Shame and guilt, embarrassment. Mm, yeah.
I'm not embarrassed of you. I love you. Thank you for sharing something so so deep with such a deep meaning to you. Thank you for sharing that with me.
That would be nice.
Are you? Do I still call you my dad?
You can call me whatever you want, whatever you're comfortable with.
I'm gonna call you that bitch. No, just kidding.
Um,
No, that's good. How did that feel?
I started to get teary eyed.
Mm, I could tell. I could tell. I really feel like you should tell him. I have a good feeling about it. I know it's scary.
Maybe
It's
when the
fear.
time is right. I don't know when that will be, but it'll probably happen. And I don't think my wife's going to be happy about it when I do it. I could be wrong. I don't know.
Yeah, that's why I asked earlier about when you came out, like to your sponsor and other AA members. I'm assuming.
Yeah,
Um, I was wondering, like, if if you had any like expectations or anything, and maybe
I
those
didn't, but I
those
was.
expectations blew you away, and you're like, oh wow, I'm actually getting support and love, and so that's why I
I
was like, maybe if you're having this fear with your daughters, maybe you'll get that support and love, and just kind of completely blow away your expectations.
Yeah,
That's a total possibility. I know a lot of us like to look at the negative sides, and we don't always look at maybe the positives or the things that might come out of it.
yeah,
Because it's so easy to focus on the negative stuff. I do it all the time. It's hard. It's really, really hard to not focus on that stuff.
yeah. I mean, I've battled with depression since I was a kid, and I told my wife that uh, a lot of it had to do with this, and I just said I'm not going back there.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um,
Do you mind if I ask? Is that why you were drinking?
well, I have a history of alcoholism in my family. I think towards uh, probably the last 5 years was my escape. Yeah, so part of that was probably yeah.
So did you stop drinking about 5 years ago?
No, I stopped drinking back in 1994.
Okay, congrats. Have you been sober since?
Yeah,
Congratulations.
thank you.
That takes a lot of work. That's hard. It's really hard.
Yeah,
Did you start going to AA back then, or was that some recent?
no, I've been going to AA for 28 years.
Well, that's great. I'm really happy that you did that.
Thank you.
It takes a lot of guts to go through all that stuff.
I think it's I'm the kind of person that I have to be in enough pain before I'll change.
Hmm. How
And
much? So just to kind of play on that, how much pain do you feel like you're in or were in with all of your gender stuff?
well, I was very isolated. I found trans porn. I don't know about 20 years ago, or no, about 30 years ago, and oh, that was a shameful thing. But I couldn't get away from it. Um, and it was the first time I ever saw that stuff, and I was like, wow, uh, I'd love to be that.
So you were imagining yourself as the
Yeah, yeah,
trans person.
yeah. And as I've gotten older, when I look at a pretty woman, I'm not looking at them thinking, oh, I'd love to get in their pants. I look at them and I'm saying, boy, I wish I could wear those leggings with those boots.
Well, you know
Or
what? You can.
yeah, I've always loved leggings with boots. Maybe someday.
Yeah, do it. Make it happen. After this episode, you should go buy some leggings and some boots, and
Oh, I own some.
well, fucking go get them and go strut it out.
Someday, maybe.
Do it. Just do it. What's stopping you?
I'm just taking my baby steps.
I
Taking
think
my baby steps and trying to keep some peace at home at the same time.
what would it take for you to take a giant leap?
Another heart attack?
Nah, you don't need that. You don't need another
I'm
heart
kidding.
attack.
I'm kidding. I don't know. I don't know. I look forward to the future,
Hmm.
which is
What
something
does what does the future look like to you? Like
um,
ideal future,
being more of my authentic self,
which is
um, gender fluid, leaning towards more feminine.
out,
So,
just presenting out more and being more open.
yeah, I don't know what it is, but I like to be outside. I like to be a part of life, showing some femininity, and I don't know what that's all about. Maybe
I think
because
you want.
for years it was a hidden secret. I mean, I used to have a hard time going to AA meetings because I had this whole other side of me that I was so ashamed of. I would walk in and I would feel like such a fraud
Hmm.
trying to act like a sober, um, healthy person when there was all this stuff that was there that nobody could know about.
Hmm.
And now
Well,
I've talked about it at meetings, and now I attempt to look somewhat feminine, and it just feels nice. I'm sure that at some point, as I progress, there's going to be some rejection, um, but I guess I'll deal with that, and hopefully, I'll be secure enough within myself to be able to just deal with it.
I mean, did you get rejection before you started coming out and accepting yourself more?
Rejection from,
Like from your male self, your um, I guess pre heart attack, maybe.
well, I mean, I always felt like I was different. Um,
So maybe like some self rejection, maybe like projecting that onto people in a weird way. Does that make sense?
I think so. Um, I just always knew if, and I'm not sure if I'm answering your question. I always knew that if you really knew who I really was, you weren't going to like me.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what I'm thinking because I think that's projecting your thoughts on other people.
Yeah. Yeah. There was just so much. Um, I mean, I grew up with a construction working father, and I lifted weights for years, and I always wanted to look manly, and I always wanted to put a lot of muscle on. I wanted to be. I wanted to be um, someone that people would look up to. Rambo, Rocky, the $6 Million Man, um, all those things that I knew. Yeah, and I just always wanted to be bigger than life and
Mhm.
have respect from other people because I felt like most people didn't respect me, and I was looked at as somebody who wasn't to be taken seriously.
I think that can still happen. I think people still look up to you and still respect you, and you can still be larger than life. But you need to put yourself out there and be known, be seen.
That's what I'm. That's what I'm moving towards.
You'll get there.
If I was single, I'd be doing more. Uh,
Hmm.
because a lot of times when I go too far in the other direction, I get the comments and things like that. And I'm kind of learning to be more like, I respect your opinion, but um, I'm not going to hide who I am anymore.
I don't think you should. I don't think you should hide who you are. I
Am I
think you
being too
should.
serious?
No, no. I like serious conversations. Um, but we can lighten it up if you want.
No, 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 this is good.
I can ask you what's the weirdest thing you stuck up your butt.
Yeah, well, I don't think that anybody wants to hear about that stuff.
Oh, they definitely want to hear about that stuff. Whether or not you want to share, that's up to you.
Well, my kids ever came across this, I don't think that that would be.
They may not want to know.
Yeah, I would imagine.
Okay, let's not answer that one then. Um, yeah, I'm okay being serious. I think having serious conversations is good. Um,
It's a
I
serious.
really
Oh, go ahead.
it's a serious topic, and it's a serious topic for you. This is something that you know you've dealt with what your whole life, or a lot of your life, and kept hidden, kept down, and that is serious. It's very serious to you.
Well, the feelings are serious, and the self hatred was serious.
Is there still self hatred?
There's self dislike a lot of times.
What do you dislike about yourself?
Um, it's just like therapy stuff. I always considered myself to be kind of a coward and didn't stand up for myself in school, and that was unacceptable to me.
Hmm.
Um, but I just couldn't, and that was a huge form, a huge part of guilt, shame, self hatred.
Hmm. Hmm. Sorry, I'm playing therapist.
That's all right. That's all right.
So you've been going to therapy for, you said, what, 15 years?
Well, I was going to therapy even when I was drinking, and
Okay.
I started to tell. And I was about 21. I started to tell another therapist about the dressing, and I immediately went out and got drunk
Hmm.
right after the therapy session.
So your current therapist that you did
Yeah.
come out to and told, and she's like happy and supportive and everything. Has there been anything that she's told you or said that's like just really stuck out in your mind? Do you just constantly maybe think about it here and there? Or...
Uh, God, we've talked about so many things. Just the total acceptance of Brian, Brianna, um, that sticks in my head. Is just that she's so supportive.
How does that feel to have that support?
Uh, well, it was. I think it was uh, kind of a God thing that I needed that.
Hmm. God.
Um,
Are you religious?
no, but I try to be spiritual.
Okay. Hmm.
I try.
How does that, what's that look like to you? The spirituality.
Um, well, when I got sober, about 8 months in, I started to have this sense of peace, a sense of well being, and absence of fear that hit me like a brick because I had never felt any of that.
Hmm.
Even before I picked up my first drink, as a kid, I always felt very uncomfortable. And I was either looking at tomorrow or I was regretting what happened yesterday and never looked down at my feet and felt like I'm right where I'm supposed to be. And that was the first time that I felt like I'm really happy with where I'm standing right now.
Hmm.
And that was the first time that I felt uh, the presence of a higher power.
Hmm.
So that was big. Did I answer your question?
I think so. I think so. Um, you're trying to get me to cry because I'm very empathetic.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've already had my morning cry, so I don't want another one. um, interesting. Interesting. Hmm. Are you okay? You feeling okay?
Yeah. No, I feel good.
Okay.
These are tears of joy.
Okay. That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
Well, I want to tell you that you're not broken. You're you're definitely valid. I know, I realize there's compromise and stuff in a relationship and all that stuff, but you're not broken. And it takes a lot of guts to do what you're doing, and it's really great.
Thank you. Yeah.
It's not easy. It's not easy. For some people it's easy as shit. Me, it's not easy. It's not easy,
No.
uh, but
No.
it's totally worth it. It's
I
totally
give you
worth
a
it.
lot of credit for being where you are at this point in your life,
Thank you.
because I think a lot of people die um, never showing any of their authenticity or their real authentic self, and I think there's a lot of regret because people just can't do it,
Hmm.
and I could identify with that because for years I just couldn't do it.
I get it. I totally identify with that too. I relate, and that's why it breaks my heart when I hear some of the stories from some of the older people that go through it and deal with this.
Yeah,
That's
I mean, I think some people choose suicide other than to dive into this.
Yeah. Don't please call somebody. You call a suicide prevention hotline or go to the ER. Or go. Don't do it.
Yeah,
Uh, please, please, please. If you're listening and you're having a hard time, reach out to someone. Reach out to me. Reach out to somebody because that you're not alone.
yeah, that's. I'm glad that you said that. That's
You might feel very alone. Sorry, I'm not necessarily talking to you, Brianna, but just kind of everybody in general.
right.
Um, you're not alone. You're not broken. There is support out there. You just
Well, between you and Giselle, and I found you guys on YouTube about a year ago, and I
Oh,
was like,
cool. So you actually
wow.
found us on YouTube. Wow.
And I was like, wow, these interviews are great. And then I heard Giselle talking about the Discord, and I had some help finding how to get on there because I'm terrible with computers.
Mm.
And yeah, it's just been. I just think it's such a good thing for people like yourself and myself.
So
And
speaking
I
of the
think
Discord, what do you think about the Discord?
I like it very much. Sometimes I go on and I chat with you and Tommy and a few other people, and I hear about what you guys are doing and where you are at your life as far as living your true self. And I'm like, wow, uh, it's good that you guys are there to talk about that stuff. And I'm sure it's helped a lot of people who may not even go on the chat site, but they see and they
Mhm.
read and
The
they probably say,
lurkers.
wow. Yeah, like, wow, I'm not the only one who feels this way.
Do you think other people should join the Discord if they're not on there already?
Yeah, anybody who's in the who's wearing the shoes that we are, um,
They don't have to be 6-inch heels. They
No,
can be a
they don't
three
have to.
inch or a one
But they
inch or
have to at least be Doc Martens with a 3-inch heel.
oh, you
That's
have to have restrictions. I get it. See, I'm all about the inclusivity, but yeah, no.
yeah. I mean, no matter where you are at that point in your life, if this is a part of what's going on in between your ears, uh, the support is very important. Being alone gets old.
So people can. Do you know where people can find the Discord? It's okay if you don't, because I can.
I don't know exactly how to explain
Oh,
that.
okay. So you can find the Discord on the CrossYAASPodcast.com website, and there's a link there to join, or you can reach out to me on Instagram at BillieRain4, or on the CrossYAAS Podcast Instagram. You can reach out there too, and I'll be more than happy to point you in the right direction. Or if you're already on Discord, you can reach out to me at pound Billie Billie, or no, it's sorry, I'm saying it all wrong. It's Billie pound 6924. See, I don't even know my own name, but it's the last one. It's definitely the last one. But I know when the Discord was first started, gosh, like 2 years ago, I was like maybe the third third or fourth person in there.
Oh wow.
It's been so beneficial for me in helping with my self acceptance, and sometimes we have really good deep conversations on there. There's a lot of good resource from it,
Yeah,
and
I agree.
I feel like it would benefit a lot of people.
I agree 100%.
Hmm. Have you reached out to any other like support groups or anything for like gender stuff?
Well, I went to a gender therapist briefly, and that was good. Um, and I'm trying to find some 12-step meetings that are more accepting of other um, gender fluid, transgender, people just living their authentic selves that I could go to. I live in an area where um, it's pretty close minded.
Hmm.
Um, I live about an hour from New York City, but more in Bergen County and Essex County. I think there's more diversity in that area.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, so no, I haven't reached out too much over the years.
Well, it might be. I know I always mention it all the time, just because I really like this program, but and it's not a 12 step. It's just more of like general support, really, mostly for like the loved ones and family, friends, or whatever of LGBTQ people. But I really, I'm a big fan of PFLAG. That might be something to look into, especially like maybe with your wife or your girls or your
What is that?
son. PFLAG. It's an organization that's for parents, families, and friends of lesbians and gays, but it doesn't really mean that anymore. They just kept the name.
Right.
I go there. They For around here they do the meetings every first Tuesday of the month, and it's like 2 hours. We all sit in a circle. People bring like their kids and stuff. The kids have their own little like kid zone, and then when I've gone, there's been like a few LGBT people in the group, but mostly it's like parents and stuff, and just struggling or trying to learn or come to terms with their kids or whoever coming that came out to them. It's a really good resource, and we talk and we have a discussion. They let out their thoughts and things that are going on with their head and their mind and things that are going on through their day to day, and it's just really good organization. It's very helpful for families and friends and stuff. I mean, even for myself, I get a lot out of it too.
Yeah.
It's helped me a lot with um, making amends with a lot of my mom's stuff
Hmm. Well, that's
because you know I
great.
can't, it didn't go well, and I held a lot of resentment and hatred, and I mean not necessarily hatred, but I had a lot of
Resentment.
hard feelings for her.
Yeah.
And going to PFLAG, I got a lot out of it just from it was around Mother's Day. We were talking about like one of the moms there was grieving the loss of their child, like
Wow.
figurative loss, like
Right.
a boy or whatever. I don't remember exactly their story, but hearing that come from that mom, that really stuck out in my mind, and I think about that a lot.
What did you think of that?
I just thought about the pain that my mom must have been in with the thought of her losing her son.
Yeah.
She didn't get to the point where she saw me like legit happy and came to a place of acceptance, and she never got there.
Mm.
Actually, it'll be the one she died last year,
Oh, I'm sorry.
on the 30th, so in a couple days, Monday.
Oh,
So that's also been like hitting me really hard lately. Just thinking about what was, what could have been.
right.
I would have loved to have a mother daughter relationship with my mom.
Yeah. That sounds
I mean,
nice.
I still will in a sense. I think, at least in my mind. But I've gotten a lot of
I think she's looking down on you right now, and I'm sure she's proud.
yeah. I sure hope so. Sure
What
hope
you're
so.
doing, you're reaching out to people, and that's a big deal.
Yeah, I love talking to people and hearing their stories, and you know a lot of people tell me this. They're like, "Oh, my story's boring, blah blah blah." It's like it might be boring to you, but it's not to me. I guarantee you it's not boring to the listeners. I'm just curious how many of these people in 150 episodes so far have told Giselle or myself, "Oh, my story's boring." But then they tell their story and then it's helped so many people.
Yeah. I had asked Tommy about. I had listened to the interview with Tommy, and I asked her about it on the Discord, and she said something, and then she says, "Well, when are you going to do an interview?" And I immediately said, "Well, I don't have that much to say. I don't. I think I'm still in the infant stages of this, so I don't think I'd have much to not enough information to hold an actual interview."
Well, here we are. We're almost an hour in and got you crying a couple times.
Yeah.
Got you emotional. It's good. It's good. I really think it's good to have conversations in all the different parts of the timelines for people. Because there could very well be someone listening that's in a similar situation as you that maybe not relate. They may not relate to where I'm at, or where somebody who's like super super in the closet and it's just like a fetishy thing. Or there are a lot of voices out there and they need to be heard. You deserve to be heard. You deserve to be seen. And that goes to everybody that's listening. You deserve to be heard. You deserve to be seen.
They
You
don't
should,
know that, and you're telling them that, so that's a big deal.
I mean that so much. How are people going to really know you unless you're out there?
Yeah, it's
How
scary.
are you going to how are you going to know yourself if you're not being yourself?
A lot of those people have a lot of self hatred.
Well, I love you. I love all of the listeners. Um, I really do. I love y'all, and I care about you. So for whatever that's worth, I really do mean all that.
And they're listening to this right now, and they may be getting the help they need. So thank you for doing what you're doing.
Well, you're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you for coming on here. It's hard. It can be really scary. It can be really tough.
Yeah, I was a little scared, but I was also kind of excited because I felt like it was taking the next step into moving towards more of Brianna.
Yeah, verbalizing stuff is very powerful. Very, very powerful. I first verbalized this shit like 3 years ago, 2 years ago, 2020, whatever, however long ago that was. 2, 3 years? I don't fucking know. Should be easy because it's 2022, right?
Yeah,
Like I said, head math is not my thing.
me either.
But ever since I started verbalizing anything, that's when the growth started happening. That's when I started accepting myself more.
Did you feel a lot more peace in between your ears?
Yes. Has there been difficult times? For fucking sure. It hasn't been completely easy, or it's still not easy for me. But having y'all to talk to and listen, and me listening and hearing y'all stories, that helps me grow.
You're a good interviewer too, so
Thanks. I don't think so, but thanks. Um,
you ask the right questions.
yeah, I don't really prepare for these. I just like to listen to your story and just ask you questions on what you're asking or what you're saying.
Right.
And sometimes I get a little preachy, maybe a little pushy. But
I think that's good.
sometimes I think a little push is good.
I think a lot of us need a little pushing.
Hmm. Well, you can do it. You can move forward. I know you can. You've made a lot of progress, I'm sure, in a year since your heart attack. Well, a year and a half, year and a half.
About a year and a half, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure you've made a lot of progress since then.
Yeah, I'm definitely in a better place um, with Brianna than I ever thought possible.
You'll get there. You're getting there. It's not even you'll get there. You're getting there.
I'm enjoying the journey.
Yeah, take it slow if you have to. Sometimes going slow is a good way to go because you can see all the little small things. I notice this when I walk. When I'm taking my walks, I like to walk kind of slow. And if you follow me on Instagram, you notice I post a lot of nature pictures and stuff. And it's usually because like I'm taking my time and I'm like looking around and I'm looking at things that I wouldn't normally look at. And I'm like, oh, that little plant that looks really cool. It's like the twirlies and spirally things and whatever.
Right,
Because I'm like, oh, there's a lot of beauty in there that I would just bypass if I was going by quick.
right.
So
And you must
it
be mentally, you must be in a better place because you even noticed that stuff. Because I never noticed any of that stuff
mm-hmm,
years ago.
yeah, you should take a stroll in a park sometime and just look around at the small details. And I think the same thing could be said about your life.
Mm.
Just look around, look at the small details. I guarantee there's some beauty there that you might be overlooking.
I know when I look at my kids that everything that's happened up to this point and to where I am today was supposed to happen because those kids were supposed to be born because they're
Mm-hmm.
just the greatest kids I've ever known. Just very loving, very caring, um, hardworking. Uh, so much more than I ever was. Yeah, when I was their age.
Well, I'm very much looking forward to the day that you go on the Discord, or you even say, "Hey, I want to record something new," and you tell me, or you tell everybody in the Discord that I told my daughters, and things went great. I feel so loved, and I have so much support from them. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, I hope when I tell them I don't start bursting out crying.
If so, what if you do? That's okay. It's okay to cry.
Yeah, I'm a crier.
It's totally okay to cry, and that might even help you out.
Yeah,
That'll show like how serious you are and how much it means to you.
yeah.
So you're trying to get me crying again.
We'll get you there.
Well, the day's still young for me, so I have definitely enough time to cry at some point.
The one thing I've always been curious about, and I've heard different people in the Discord talk about it, and in the interviews that Giselle's done and you've done, a lot of people that identify as either gender fluid or even cross dresser, a lot of them, and there's one in particular that uh, never considered hormones, and later on, they said the thought of doing hormones becomes a possibility. And then one person went on hormones. They're still married, but with hormones, doesn't it affect other parts as far as sexual side effects that would make it hard for a significant other to be able to have that intimacy?
It's a good question. It's very much your mileage may vary kind of thing. So I can only really speak for myself. I'm about 3.5 months in.
How do you feel?
I feel great. As soon as I took that first half a pill of estrogen, it's like 1 milligram. I felt so good. I felt so helpful, hopeful for the future, clear headed. Like all the head noise is gone. It's gone. When I introduced the Spyro, it definitely, that's the testosterone blocker that I started feeling a bit lonely and a bit depressed. But that could just be my hormones like adjusting and stuff,
Yeah,
and maybe even situational. But physically, I feel great. Um, Sexually, I've never really been all that much of a sexual person. I've always kind of considered myself asexual. I didn't really know that was a thing until more recent years.
yeah,
I don't, go out and shout it all. Hey, I'm asexual, blah 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 blah. But um, as far as like sexual stuff for me now, um, for the first couple months, it was pretty easy for me to get hard. Uh, this month, it's been more difficult, and I don't even really think about sex that much. Not that I was thinking about it a whole lot before,
right.
um, but it's from my understanding with a lot of people, it's very much a use it or lose it kind of a thing, and it does take a lot more work for me to get it going.
Yeah, I often thought about the ironic thing is I've been on testosterone for about 7 or 8 years, mostly for anti-aging reasons,
Hmm.
um, and then I thought, wow, being on hormones doesn't change you
No.
completely, but it does help to. I don't know much about it, but I guess it does help to uh, redistribute fat and
Hmm.
things,
Hmm.
and maybe make you look a little more softer. And I thought, wow, that would be kind of cool, but from being on testosterone to getting off of that to going on to estrogen, I wonder if there'd be any severe side effects.
Are your testosterone levels at like a normal level when you're taking
They
that?
are, yeah, they're on the higher end, but it's still within a normal range.
Because you don't necessarily have to take the testosterone blockers. I've heard a lot of people that just take estrogen and they don't take the. So if you stop the testosterone and just start taking estrogen, it might be beneficial. It's definitely one of those things where you could take it for a few months and just stop. No harm, no foul, and things will go back to normal.
Right.
If you have some boob growing, you might have some small boobs. But
Right.
the way I looked at it, because I've always had a lot of fear with hormones and stuff. Think it would make this like huge transformation like overnight, which definitely not an overnight thing. It's definitely a very long, slow process.
Yeah.
Um, but a lot of the way I thought about it was, if okay, what are the side effects? If I had boobs, okay, that's fine. I wouldn't necessarily mind that. Um, I don't. I'm trying to think of the other, like the testes or whatever being shrunken. Like, wasn't very sexually active anyway. It wasn't something I'm interested in. So for me, it wasn't a big deal. Um, but there has been a lot of positive things that have changed that I like. Like my complexion has definitely cleared up a lot. I feel like my skin looks nicer. I think I look younger. Someone thought I was 28 the other day at work, which I don't believe them. I'm 36, so
Yeah, I'd say you look younger than that.
that guy was 1 year older than me, and he looks way older. I thought he was like 45, but he's 37. It's like, what?
It's
No
hard to
way.
tell sometimes.
Hmm.
I've always had this, and I've told my therapist about this. I should write a book on and make up TG stories. But I've had this fantasy of someday. This is embarrassing, but um, and it's kind of horrific in a way. But I would say I was in an accident where they were just keeping me alive on ventilators and things because my body is so torn up, and it doesn't start off very good. But they've learned how to do brain transplants. Hang on one second. I have to plug my computer in.
Oh, don't want to die. You have to transplant your computer's brain into another computer.
Wait.
If you're listening, I'm probably not gonna edit this out, but her, I guess, computer battery is about to die, so she's getting
That's
it charged up. She's transplanting the computer's brain into another computer's body.
that's it. Anyway, they started to have the ability to do brain transplants, and they come to my wife and my parents and are like, "Look, the only donor body we have is a woman's body, but he can't keep existing like this." So they're like, "Yeah, I mean, I guess, yeah, put his brain in a woman's body." And all of a sudden, I wake up and I'm this hot blonde with big breasts and totally feminine looking. And the doctor says to my family, he's going to probably like being a woman, and he's probably going to want to live as a woman, because of the amount of estrogen in his body now. So everybody's like, well, I guess we'll just have to accept that. So it's like this way of getting away with
Hmm.
being totally female and not feeling funny about it because it's like, hey, it was a medical thing, you know?
I mean, well, when you look at it that way, what I'm doing is a medical thing.
Right.
It may not be a brain transplant, but there's definitely like brain changes happening.
That story sounds pretty juvenile, doesn't it?
Nah, I mean, I've thought about stuff similar to that before. Like I used to watch a lot of movies where people would switch bodies, or TV shows or whatever. And
Yeah.
there's one there's one that I always think about. It's called Dr. Jekyll and Miss Hyde. It was always on TV, and it's like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, but the dude turns into a lady, and she's like like power suit woman, uh, taking charge of the lab and all this other stuff, trying to like take over his body. Like, it's my body now.
Right.
So like I always thought about that. Like, oh, what if I had some magic potion or whatever I could drink and have that
Right.
transformation? Like I've always thought about similar stuff.
I think we're more alike than we are different.
Hmm. For sure. For sure. How you feeling?
Good. Yeah, it was fun to go over this stuff and share a little bit about myself. And there's a part of me that worries, like, did I say too much? And is this going to get to the wrong people? And then there's that excited part of me that's like, well, then everybody would know, wouldn't they?
Yeah. I make ever since I started being more public. It was because I told my ex-wife Giselle, and then I told my therapist, and I didn't tell anybody after that. And then my therapist was like, "You should create a Facebook account or something for your female side." At the time, it was Megan, and I did that. I didn't really, and it was already kind of off Facebook at the time, so I made an Instagram. And from there, my idea was I'm just going to make this public, and if people find it, they find it. That's just one less person that I have to tell.
Right.
And if they find it and they have a problem, they'll probably say something to me. I'm assuming.
It's like sort of out of our hands at that point,
Hmm.
which is kind of, in a strange way, is kind of freeing.
For sure. For me, it's totally freeing, and it's actually I've been found out a couple times through like TikTok or whatever because I have a TikTok with the a clip of the Jesse interview, and um, for me it was like the 5 year glow up thing. I also posted on Instagram, but one of my coworkers found that, didn't tell me, found it earlier in the year. I'm assuming didn't tell me shit, and then when I finally had the courage to like tell him, he's like, "Oh, I knew."
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, why the fuck didn't you tell me? I make this shit public on purpose because I don't want to tell people. I want them to just know. And but
Yeah.
they always say, well, it's it's your thing. It's your journey. You need to be comfortable telling it or whatever.
Yeah.
And I hope you get to that point.
I already have some plans on telling a few more people, and one of them's my sister. My
Mm-hmm.
I have two sisters. My sister that's closer to my age, um, and we'll see how that
When
goes.
when do you plan on telling your sister?
Um, Sometime in the near future.
How soon?
Well, I have to talk to her about a couple other things, and I thought that might be a good time to bring that up. My nephew is gay, and I
Mm.
just figured because of that, I think she'd be more understanding about me. I mean, I could be wrong. I don't know, but and my
Well,
nephew's a great guy.
you could be wrong, but you could be very right.
I don't know if I ever plan on telling my father because he would just roll over and die. I think
Well, then
he's
you have one less person to worry
he's
about at
very
that.
religious, very old fashioned, very anti homophobe. He's homophobic and everything from the Bible. If the Bible says it, it's the way it is. And I think he interprets a lot of things in the wrong way. So I just don't tell him anything.
He should look up the eunuchs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jesus loved the eunuchs. But anyway, um, I think you should definitely tell your sister, and I'm sure it'll go great. I think you should go with your gut on that one. If you feel like it's going to go well, it'll probably go well. Try not to look at the negatives, and it'll
Yeah.
be.
Like I said, I look forward to the future because I know it's going to slowly start to come out more and more. And I think there's going to be some negativity in certain areas, spousal negativity that may change things. And I think there's going to be a lot of positive things too.
Just try to look at the positives. I
Yeah.
know it's hard. I know it's really hard, but you got to keep positive. Things will work out. I'm hopeful for you.
Yeah. Thank you. And thank you so much for doing what you do.
Well, you're welcome. Well, do you have anything else you want to share? I'm probably gonna might wrap it up soon. I gotta pee.
Yeah. I have to go watch my twins play a soccer game.
Okay. Okay.
uh, but I'll have to take these off because I don't think they're ready for that yet.
I think you should wear them. Just say fuck it. You should get some like soccer ball earrings and wear the soccer ball earrings.
I'd like to get it. My wife at one point said, "You know what? Guys look good with small hoops." And I mentioned it a few weeks ago, and she looked at me and turned her head like this, and I'm like, I guess I'm not getting away with that right now, anyway.
You should get some dangly soft, like dangly giant soccer balls and wear those to the soccer game.
Yeah, maybe in the future, but not just yet.
Mm, okay. Okay. Well, thanks for joining us and telling your story and
Thank you.
of course where can do you want anybody to like try to find you or anything? Would you if so, where can they find you? The Discord, I'm assuming.
Yeah, on the Discord, do people give out email addresses? Because I don't have Instagram or Facebook or anything like that.
If you're comfortable giving out your email address, I'm comfortable putting it out there.
Yeah, is that like a bad thing to do, or
No, just depends on how comfortable you are.
okay? It's Brian Brian 768272 at gmail.com.
Okay, so yeah, if you want to reach out to Brianna and maybe something that she said struck a chord with you, and reach out to her. You can find her on her email, send her an email, or you can definitely find her on the Curi-YAAS Confidential Discord. Yeah, so thanks so much for talking with us and sharing your story.
Thank you, Billy, and I look forward to talking to you on Discord.
Of course, and I look forward to the day when you're like so excited because you told your sister, you told your daughters. I'm really looking forward to that.
Well, thank you, and I can't
That'll
wait
make
to
me
be
a
able to tell you that.
that'll make me a very proud mama bear.
Mm, thank you.
Cool. Well, anyway, with that, I'm gonna go ahead and stop it. Bye.
Bye.